Okay, so we are here to talk about all of that, the follow-up piece. And like I just said, most people do not join us or purchase on the first, second, third. It said 80% of people will purchase on the fifth or longer conversation. So we need to make sure that we are following up with our people several times. And the number one thing that I hear people say right now is, how do I do that without being salesy? How do I do that without being pushy, right? And so this is where we come into, if Jordan, if you want to go to the next slide, this is where we come into our system and that list that we were talking about. This is where we send, share, invite. And you hopefully have heard that, send, share, invite. But let's kind of dive in a little bit more as to what in the world that is. So we've already sent our messages, our discovery messages, to see if what we have could help solve their problem, right? But next we're going to share. So in our conversation, we're sharing a third-party tool, we're sharing a solution to their problem, we're sharing a video or a testimony. This is when they're really working on building their belief in the product, right? And then most of the time, even after that, they're not like, yay! So every once in a while they are, right? But not all the time. So then we invite them. We invite them to purchase a welcome pack. If it's the perfect world situation, they say yes. We jump on the phone with them and we get them all set up, right? But if they don't, they're not ready to purchase a welcome pack, then we have to have more conversation. So we're inviting them to try a sample. We're inviting them to an event. We're inviting them to some sort of call or some sort of testimony, something. We're inviting them to come listen and learn more and build their belief. And yes, the 3-day sample group. And this is where, and we'll talk more about it at the end, but this is where having a list is super helpful. So I know Jordan was saying that she had in her notebook, Jordan does it hard copy in her notebook, and she's just putting an E next to somebody if she's invited them to an event, and an S when she sent them a sample, right? And so that is her system. We're sending, sharing, inviting, and that is how our conversation goes. But as we all know, it doesn't just stop necessarily right there, because even if we sent them in a sample, we've invited them to a group, does everybody join after they've come to an event or been sent a sample? No. So we kind of wanted to go through a little combo flow with you, so we can role play a little bit of what that will look like, what it could look like. So Jordan, if you want to go to the next page.
Yeah, and I was going to just talk just really, really fast on the share part, you guys. I wanted to just share really quick, because has anybody, and you can put it in the chat, but have you ever had somebody who you've had this conversation with and they still feel really wishy-washy? They still feel like they're not in it. Maybe they're not excited yet. So what I found is that if you can get them through the steps, this is very important, to send them a video so they can have that belief, right? They don't even know what a triplex is, and they don't care what it is until they know how it's going to help them. So really going through that step of sharing a testimony with them, sending a video for them, really knowing that the root of why they haven't said yes yet is that they're scared.
I need you to put your stuff away that you're done with.
So while this is super important just for system purposes, this is also really important to make sure that people have belief in what we're doing. So there's that. And then, yes, I will go to the next.
And a third-party tool, really quick, I saw in the chat, third-party tool would be anything that's not you. So your a video or something from the app, a testimony, tagging them, adding and tagging them in a testimony, sending them a testimony, anything that is not you talking. And this,
a third-party
briefly
tool,
say, but
a three-way message with your sponsor would count too.
Right. And this is where the duplication process starts. We're not talking about duplication today, but this is where that starts right now, is in these conversations. Okay, so here's a little bit of a conversation flow. So our first step is to discover, like we talked about all last week. We can't help anybody unless we know what they need help with, right? And so you're going to see this kind of pattern, but we're asking questions, okay? We are asking questions and listening. We are not talking. So questions like, what health issues are you struggling with? Tell me more about your health goals, right? And maybe you're sending that symptoms graphic. If you haven't seen it, we have tons of different ones. But Randy Page made a beautiful one. It's very clear and concise. So, tell me, are you struggling with any of these, or which one of these are your health goals, right? And then what are we doing? We're listening. So this example, well, I toss and turn at night. I have no energy during the day, so I have to drink a lot of coffee. My joints are achy. I'm sure all this would be much better if I ate healthier and worked out, but I'm just so tired and busy. Oh, and I get migraines, right? And so this is where I want to caution you. It's so easy to like respond back and be like, oh yes, I used to feel this way. I used to feel that way. I. No, we want to, again, dive in and ask the questions, okay? We want to sympathize with them. Like, oh my gosh, I hate that for you. It's such a struggle when you have no energy, or when you feel like you can't sleep at night, or whatever, right? You're sympathizing, and then you're digging deeper. And especially if their responses are vague. So some of these questions here are just like digging deeper. Are you on medications? Do you have any allergies, autoimmunes? Have you been on antibiotics? Do you deal with any pain? Like, we're just trying to find out more about this person. And I haven't been doing this for very long, but in the 2 years that I have been doing this, I have found that 99% of the time people are like, oh, I just want to lose weight. And I'm like, oh, that's so like, I love that you're like working on your health. Do you struggle with any of these things? And I maybe send the graphic to them. And then it's like, like all these things that they struggle with that they maybe or likely would not have shared with me if like I hadn't asked, right? So we've got to keep asking. Jordan, can you go to the next slide, please? I feel like such a professional. Okay. So this is where I kind of went ahead, but sympathizing with their pain. Oh my goodness, I had no idea you were so miserable. You hide it well. How long has this been going on? What other solutions have you tried? So this part is where we're digging deeper to see like what things they've tried, how long they've been struggling with this. And this is helping to build their belief, right? Because they've just told me all these things they're struggling with. They've just told me all the things that they've tried now and that they've been doing this for 5 years. So later on, if I get an objection for whatever reason, I can pull that all back in and say, oh, I just hate that for you. Remember how you told me you had for length of time, right? And then they might tell you, oh, I tried Herbalife, but I hated the taste and I'm on a migraine medicine, blah, 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 right? We're just listening. We're really digging in because we want to figure out what their deepest struggle is, right? And then we want to really validate that that is a struggle and that we have a solution to help with that struggle. And so then here we are sharing a third-party tool. So that reminds me of my friend's story, or bye, buddy. So tagging them in a story or sending a testimony that is not you, right? Listening to, sorry, I got distracted. Listening to what they're saying and then saying, oh, this reminds me of this video that I saw, sending it to them, or adding them to Gut Health and Happiness and tagging them in it. Okay. Their response, and this is very common, is like, oh, this sounds good. This is all good. I'm really interested. How much does it cost? Okay. Like that's the next question in the sequence. So, do you want to go to the next slide, Jordan, unless you have anything to add?
Nope, just don't judge me for my typos. Just be thankful for content.
We are thankful. Okay, so then this is the part, again, another place where like it's really common to be like, they said, yes, they want it. Okay, so I'm just going to blast them with the amount of money, right? 99% of the time, you still haven't built their belief yet. So if you're running into a lot of cost objections when you're talking to people, I would like you to take a step back to your system and your follow-up and the conversations you're having. And they don't have belief in the products yet, because if they did, if they knew and really truly felt that they would work after they just blasted all their struggles and told you they've been trying XYZ thing for 5 years, it would be cheap to them, right? They would 1,000% do it. And so this is where it's like, okay, that's a great question. Can you watch this video really fast and see if you can relate to it? So maybe you're sending the triplex video or the microbiome video or some kind of video, another third-party tool. I know when I first got started, I would like try to voice message blast them with like oh, well, yes, you're going to love triplex because it does, and I'm trying to like sell it all to them in my voice message. I don't need to do that. Like the videos are amazing. You should be using the Engage app. Like it's so cool because you can send it. It tells you who watched the video, how long they watched it for. So you can and it tells you once it's been watched, so you can follow up with them. And this is when I send the video and then I say, I'll check back in with you after I make dinner, or in 20 minutes, or in 8 minutes if we're in an active combo, right? Because I want them to know I'm going to check back in with them. I want to set that expectation for them so that I don't feel yucky, slimy, or salesy when I do follow up with them, because I told them I was going to follow up with them. And then of course, at some point, we've got to get into that pricing combo, right? I just want to see a quick show of hands, even though I can't see anybody. Who has felt like that? Ooh, I have to talk about pricing now at some point in their journey. At some point, anybody? 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 See lots of hands and lots of shaking.
Who loves talking about money?
Right. And I think we prejudge a little bit, like they're not gonna be able to afford this. They still don't believe in this. Maybe, let's be real, maybe you don't know if you believe in it yet, or you don't know if it's gonna work for them yet if you're brand new. And so we have to have that conversation. And Jordan says that the triplex combo is 99 right now, but it's really 109 right now, and that's okay. But you have the conversation, and this is when I like to have that conversation in a voice message, because then they can hear my excitement. And everybody talks about the price differently, but I start at retail and I work my way down. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm so excited that you love this combo and you want to give this a try. And I just dive into it. I'm like, normally as a retail customer, this combo is $150, but guess what? We have this exciting thing for VIP customers going on right now. We can get you this combo for $109. Yay! Okay, excited, right? And then I'm just diving in, like this message says, oh, and you'll get a free water bottle. Your membership's $9.95, but I can get that for you for free right now. You know, excited when you're talking about that combo. And like this one says, like, I try to get on the phone. So when someone says like, yes, I need this looks great, I need that, I'm like, awesome. Can I call you at 6 p.m. or at 5 a.m. tomorrow, or whatever time? That was not what you're going to say, but 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. tomorrow, 6 p.m., whatever, or 8 a.m. tomorrow. Let's get on the phone and talk about this. And then you can go through all of their worries, their concerns when you're on the phone with them, getting them signed up. Now, again, I'd like to see a raise of hands. How often does this perfect system happen? You talked to them, you reached out to them, they said, you sent them a third-party tool, you sent them the triplex video or whatever, and then they're like, yep, I'm ready, let's get on the phone tonight. They sign up, everything's hunky-dory. Like, never, right? It doesn't work like that. Maybe 5 to 10% of the time. And so that is kind of what we are here for. You can go to the next one to kind of talk about like the what if it doesn't work perfectly, right? If there's a yes, yay, let's do this. Let's set up a time tomorrow. And this is where like I like to give the two options, right? Like, does tomorrow at lunchtime or tomorrow after bedtime work best for you, right? Jump on the phone with them. If no, then this is where we fall into that. We've sent the messages, we've shared the third-party tools and the testimonies and things like that. And this is where we're going to be going to the inviting stage, inviting them to something, inviting them to an event, inviting them to try a sample, inviting them to something to continue building their belief. They're not quite, they don't have enough belief. They're not quite ready to jump and buy a welcome pack, right? Okay. Next.
Should we take any questions as of like, hey, that section right there, does anybody have any questions about that part right there? Is that any of that new to you? Is that something you're gonna like implement because it's different than what you have been doing? Any questions or comments about that part before we give you all the message examples?
I have a question.
Yeah.
What happens when you're talking to somebody new and you can't get on the phone with them, and so you have to discuss price like I mentioned, and it's like immediate hesitation and you're sensing that that's too expensive? They mentioned there's no way they can afford it and that's just not going to work out. Where do you go from there?
Yep. So there's a message idea
jumped the gun.
right here. Yep, right here. Okay, it's coming.
We're going
It's
to
like
talk
on-
through some of like the most common objections
Great.
in a second.
But I mean, the one of them that I will read that one. And if I don't, Chandler, remind me, because that is one that I actually went back and looked at some of my old messages, and I had several of those. And so like one of the questions I asked you was like, did I scare you like with like a funny GIF or something? And so there's a lot of different ways you can like navigate, but I do love that one. And then when you invite them to something after they say no, does it feel pushy? Whenever the lady comes around to you at a restaurant asking you if you would like coffee in your cup and you say no, and she comes back in 30 minutes and asks you again if you would like a refill, does that feel pushy? No, because the timing might be different. You just have to do it in a different way. And you have to do it in a way that feels really not gross and salesy. Make it about them. We will show you how to do. Okay.
I have a
Yeah, and I
question.
think the biggest,
Yeah, go
Sorry.
ahead.
I have a
Hey.
question too. So there's a girl that I'm talking to right now, and Taylor and I suggested her the 209 package. I'm nervous to like bring that up to her. Do you ever mention like the 60-day money back guarantee when you're talking about pricing?
That's a great question, because I actually, Callie Beal, are you on this call? I think you are. I think I saw you commenting.
Hi, I'm here.
Okay, I don't know how your service is, but would
Really
you?
bad.
It's really bad. Will you attempt to share with us what you might say to present a 209?
Okay, you froze.
Or can you maybe type it out or
Dang it.
share a
Can
message
you hear me?
idea that you've sent in the chat? We're gonna get
I'll
her to
send her a
share a
message.
message idea in the chat. She's nodding now. Okay. Now, do I lead with the 60-day money back guarantee? No, because I don't want anyone returning their products, because I want to focus on the 90-day process, but not the 60-day return. But what I have done, Kate, is I have come back and said, okay, I offered you the 209. Did that not fit in your budget? Shoot me straight. And if they're like, no, I don't think I can do that, I'm like, okay, let's start you smaller. But I want you to know you're not going to see as many changes as fast as you would have with the other one. Are you cool with that? And they're usually like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So just go to the
that's-
109 as like a second option.
Yeah, and then typically
Okay.
it's a 109 plus a product. So I'm like, let's just do 109 plus a bag of active, and then we'll go from there. So that's usually my fallback. Katie's and Chandler, Taylor, y'all may have a different one, but
Hey, Jordan, can
Yeah.
I just be pseudo Callie for just a minute?
yeah.
So, because I kind of know her philosophy on this, I know she's going to text a message example, but Kate, one thing to keep in mind too is that they're also going to believe in that 209 pack if you really give them the belief of the value in it. And so the more you listen to them and you really understand their problems, and the more you're able to say, oh my gosh, I have the perfect thing for you. And we are going to tackle X, Y, Z, and maybe A, B, and C with this amazing pack. And you've already like built that relationship with them. Then they're going to be like, okay. And you're going to be like, also bonus, you get a double bag of Slim in this one, or also bonus, you get our multivitamin. The more you're able to confidently just share with them like the value they're getting on these products and how much they're going to save with that welcome pack, they're going to be like, okay, why wouldn't I do a 209? I'm getting like 8 products and it's only 200, or I could get 3 products and it's 100. So just really believe that before you go talking to them about it, and don't even say price, just talk about the amazing things they're going to get from it. And then you would be really surprised that they might just be like, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you guys.
And Brittany and Callie, if y'all would share some message examples of how y'all presented them, I think that would be really helpful, because I know y'all are really good at that. Okay, hopefully y'all can see this on my screen. Can y'all? It's hard for me because like I have the like recording screen too, but so something that I love to do, maybe you have gotten to a point where you're like, one of my favorite questions to ask is, after I've asked them about their health goals, I've pinpointed their pain, I've sympathized with them, and I've said, okay, tell me what questions you still have. And they're like, I'm still not sure. I'm not sure if this is for me. I'm not sure yet. And so, or maybe they haven't responded. Anybody ever had somebody not respond to their messages? Yeah, I've had hundreds of those. So I'll read some of these, and then maybe if y'all want to ask questions about them before we go to the next one. But hey, woman, I know we've talked. I know you still have questions, which is probably my fault. So I'm just owning the fact that I probably haven't built enough belief yet. Okay, I'm going to fall on this one. I'm going to take the blame here. It's not your fault. You're good. But I think if you tasted the pink drink, it would ease your mind about jumping in. What's your address? I never do this, but I want to send you a couple samples. Maybe I would do that to somebody that I have been working on for a while, and I know that they would be really great at this, or I know they need it, but they're just scared. That's something I actually sent before we had 3-day sample packs. And so the bottom one was a girl that said, okay, I'm going to talk to my husband. Anybody ever had somebody tell them that? I need to talk to my husband before I can do this. I've gotten that a lot. I said, what did your husband say? Because if he's on the fence still, I have a $20 sample box you can try for 3 days. It has 3 days worth of my 4 favorite products in it, and it comes with a 20 off code. So basically you get your money back. I thought it might be a perfect thing for you. And this girl actually ended up doing the sample box and signing up after the sample box group. And so there's some more examples. The girl over here, January 2019, is one I actually sent. Y'all, I talked to her since 2017. And I was like, dadgum girl, like it's time to get off the fence. And so I brought up the trial group, and I just we didn't have the sample packs back then. So I was just doing random samples of slims, would be $20 now. And she said, yeah, okay. So just know that there's different ways to navigate silence and people not being ready. And maybe tasting it is the step they need. Does that help on the inviting portion with a sample group? They have questions about that? Nope.
I have a question. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you kind of talk about like how you manage expectations with the sample group, because it is only 3 days? I feel like I don't know. I just don't feel like I do a great job. I'm just not super confident going out with the sample packs.
Yeah. The point of a sample group is not for them to see changes. And I literally, when we do a sample group, you guys, we have one starting on Monday. We'll talk about that at the end. And the last day to get people in it is Thursday. So when I do a sample group, I go live on it and I literally say, this group is not for you to learn to love a product. It is not for you to see changes. It is specifically for you to see if you can work this into your daily schedule. And if you like that flavor of pink drink, or if we need to do the other one. That is the only 2 expectations that they are going to get out of that sample group. And that's it. So they go into it knowing this is literally that. So does that help, Becca?
Yeah.
Can I make a quick comment on this too?
Yeah.
I never lead with the sample group. The sample group is what I fall back on when I feel like they're hesitating or like they still don't have enough information to say yes. I've seen a lot of people go into like a new conversation and people say, yeah, they want to try it. And then they automatically are like, okay, well, let me get you a sample. A sample delays the sales process. So this is truly like a fallback method for people that are on the fence.
For sure.
Yeah.
There's a great tip.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we're talking about it tonight in the follow-up, because this is not in your discovery message. You're not sending out a message for the first time to see if they want to come to your sample group or even to your gut health and happiness testimony event. Like that should not be happening in your discovery message. That is, we have events like this and we have sample groups every single month for all of the conversations that either stopped or they weren't interested yet and they needed more belief built, or they needed to try it again, or they needed to hear a different testimony, right? Because we have to follow up with them more than 1 time, more than 2 times, more than 3 times. So yeah, we should never be leading with, oh, hey, like you've probably seen my Plexus post, or thanks for liking my post. Can I get you in a sample group? No, that's like our fallback. You're right. Exactly.
Oh, and then one more thing, sorry, and then I'll stop talking. I always ask for commitment to purchase before they agree to a sample. So my question is always, if this sample sample ends up working out and you love our products, can we go ahead and get you set up as an ambassador or as a VIP with your first welcome pack as soon as your trial is over? And I get that commitment before, so you're not just like willy-nilly sending samples. It's better now with the 3-day because they have more skin in the game. But before, when I used to send my own personal product, like, this is not a charity like business. I don't have just like samples to hand out like rain. So I've always asked for commitment before I send a sample, just so that you have that like next step ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. And the sample packs now come with $20 off codes, you guys. So it's like super easy. It's like they're not just going to not use it after. Okay, so maybe let's say the conversation is stopped, or you sent the triplex video and there's crickets, or maybe they haven't responded in a while. Or maybe in Taylor Utzi's case, I said, hey, are you interested in learning more about Plexus at all? And she said, no, heck no, I've done another MLM and I don't want anything to do with yours. And I was like, okay. She said it a little nicer than that. But you guys, then I knew that she was a mom. I connected with her for a while. And then I came back to her and I said, hey, listen, we've got this event coming up. It's all about moms. If you're not interested at all in Plexus, it's totally okay. But we are going to be talking about motherhood, and there are some really great stories on there. And if there's even an ounce of you that's interested in learning more about what this is and if it could help you, I want to invite you. And she was like, yeah, sure. And she actually commented on a post I made about the event too. And I got her in it and she signed up after. Okay, so I love events purely because they are not scary and people can connect with somebody else's story, because obviously they're not connecting with yours if they're not ready, but they have an opportunity to connect with others. So here's some more examples of an invite. Notice they all end in a question. Notice that, let's see. Anyway, I'm not going to read all these because I feel like that would just be redundant, but notice on the second one, I'm recalling the symptoms that they gave me at the very beginning, right? When we asked their health goals, I know you want to feel better with your PCOS. We have this event coming up. There's giveaways. Can I invite you to it? There's nothing scary or salesy about inviting someone to learn more, to see if it can help them. There's nothing scary. Anybody have questions about inviting to an event or anything about these message ideas?
One thing I just want to add to is this is a good time so that to me, it helps me to feel authentic and not salesy to say, like, to point it out, like, hi, like, I know that you were super interested before. And then I, like Jordan said, I always put it back on me. And then we lost touch, or I never followed back up with you, even if you did, or whatever. But like, this event, my friend is going to be sharing about her postpartum journey. Like, I know you can relate to it. I'd love for you to, tune in. Can I send you the link or whatever? Right. But this is the point where, like, you are saying, you're kind of calling it out. Like, you were interested, you were ready to go. And then maybe we stopped talking or whatever, but like, and again, fall back on yourself. Like, I never followed up, or, I, whatever, and then dive into it. So I think calling out what is, how the conversation has stopped. Or, I've heard a lot of people say, like, I'm not sure if you saw my last message. I know you're a busy mom like me, so you probably read it and forgot to respond, but like, I wanted to invite you to XYZ event.
Yeah. And I want y'all to read this second one. Okay. Anybody ever gotten a message where somebody might have told you no, and you're like, how do I keep going with this? This girl came to a sample group actually. And I was like, are you ready? I literally asked the question, are you ready? And she said, I think I'm going to take some more time to consider my options. I know I might be missing out on a discount. I think I said, are you ready? I have your discount code ready and waiting for you. And she said, I'll let you know if I want to move forward with anything. Really appreciate your time. I said, of course. Actually, we have an online event later this month with just live stories and info. I think it would be a great way for you to just learn more and ask questions. Would you like to be added to it? She said, yes. Okay. Y'all, do not let someone's fear of them not knowing what this is and their lack of belief scare you to feeling like you cannot invite them to things. People like to be invited to things. They want to learn more. Oh my gosh, I'm a bad MC of all things slideshow. Does anybody have any questions about this? These are just some more invites, but I just thought maybe that would be helpful for y'all to see. Like, that's a message I really got, and I kept going. And I wasn't salesy. And she said yes.
And I just wanted to add something in because one thing that you might find is like, if you've been talking to someone the whole time about the discount and how much money they can save, and they're kind of like ignoring you, maybe they don't talk money. So I have someone who's on this call tonight who, you know, I probably was doing that because I'm red and I talk money. And then I finally invited her to a call where a bunch of people got all feely and yellow, and like she was like, oh my gosh, yes, like I need to share, I need to touch lives. So I learned my lesson the hard way. Like, I can't always be red and in people's face. Some people don't care if they're saving money or not, right? They want to touch lives, or they want to share the science and the ingredients behind it, or whatever, right? And so that is why touching around all these different touch points, some people really don't care what it tastes like if it's going to help their body, right? And some people really don't care what it does to their body as long as it tastes good. You know, you have to find what is their kind of trigger point, like what is going to be like, oh yes, that's the thing. And maybe they came to an event and they heard you know, stories about health testimonies, and that wasn't enough. But maybe they come to another event and they hear financial testimonies or the blessings that people have been able to, you know, provide for other people or themselves, and that is the ticket, you know. So don't be afraid to continue inviting, even if it's another event with different testimonies, right? Okay, that's all.
Well, and these are just more examples that I just wanted y'all to walk away with lots of different examples, just seeing that there's different ways to say things. So this one would be like leveraging a code or a sale. And you guys, we have a sale going on right now, but does that mean that you can't do your own? No, sure. Go do your own sales. I used to do my own all the time. What questions can I answer for you about the products we chatted about above? I'd love for you to be able to take advantage of this major discount that ends this weekend. If you have people who are waiting around forever and always, you guys, we can create some urgency. It's okay. I would have waited a very, very, very long time if my sponsor wouldn't have said, hey, Jordan, I've got this discount. You need to do the thing. Stop making excuses. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And so I did it, right? And so it is okay to push people a little bit because they don't know how to help themselves, because they have no belief that this is going to work, and they have no belief in any of the things yet. Okay. So it is our job to give them the confidence, like Brittany was saying. So here's some just bold messages that I have sent before. And like, here's this one. I've done this one quite a few times just because it's like creates urgency. I'm so glad you didn't order your combo earlier this month because my friend just gave me another code. You guys go buy a $20 box, a $20 sample box, and use the code 3 times with your people. Okay. Hint. And so that's what I've done with that. And this is, you know, anyway, the pricing may be a little bit different, but I just want to encourage you to get excited and creative, and don't take no for an answer. No just means not yet. I said no for 2 years. My sponsor invited me to many things. Here's this one. So follow up with just a check-in. If you've ever sent a message, you guys give them the benefit of the doubt. Anybody else super busy and you get a message from somebody and you put your phone down because you don't have time to go to the bathroom because your kids are at your feet? So like, give them the benefit of the doubt and just be like, hey, did that message go through okay? Or hey, was that what did you think about that pricing? Or I love this one, especially if I've sent like, was the pricing okay and they didn't respond. I'll say like, did I scare you? And put like a really like a funny GIF because it lightens the mood. And so here's one of Lindsay Rims. I think that hers is on the right. And then here's one that I've done. It's multiple follow-ups. One of the questions I get all the time is, how often should I follow up? Okay, well, I mean, message them a few times. And if they're not ready, go be their friend for a minute and then invite them to something else. So there's just some more examples of how to do this in a way that's not salesy and that's also encouraging people. So things that we love to plug people into are sample groups, team-wide events, personal events. Sorry, team-wide, and then obviously when we have a sale or discount, and then you can use those. Okay, do y'all see this? I can't see your faces, but do y'all see that these little check marks on here? So this is a sheet. It's called Leads You Didn't Know You Had list. And it literally is telling you when you have somebody, let's say I think my friend Shaylee's on here. She's gonna punch me in the stomach for using her because this is like her first call ever. But she has her mother-in-law that's interested, right? And so right now she's got me in a three-way message with her. And if she's not ready, I'm gonna encourage her to invite her to her event that she's having next week. And if she's still not ready, I'm gonna encourage Shaylee to get her mother-in-law into a 3-day sample box group. And then I'm going to encourage her to follow up again and ask her what her thoughts are, right? So it's like you can check these little, boxes often, how many times you followed up with them and how you did it. So I think that is it. And I'm so excited to
I just want to,
again.
sorry, Jordan, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say, again, I mentioned this before, but this has been a game changer in my follow-up game. Is setting the expectation that I'm going to follow up with them again, right? So when I send a video, I'm setting the expectation. I'll check back in with you after I get my kids down, right? After an event, I'm going to say, I'll check back in with you tomorrow or Friday after the event, right? So I'm setting that expectation so that I just am following through with what I'm saying I'm doing, right? It's just simple like that.
Yeah. Okay. That's kind of a lot, but you guys don't be overwhelmed. Okay. I don't know if you've noticed, but in all of those messages, everybody was just themselves. They said exactly what was on their mind and they just helped them into the next step. There's always a next step. And no never means no. It just means not yet, or the timing's not right yet. That's all it means. Okay. I said no for 2 years. Anybody else say no for a while? Real? How long? How long did it take you in the conversation with your sponsor? I'm just curious if y'all will put in the chat, okay? It usually takes a while. It takes multiple exposures, and that's okay because they're not comfortable yet. But here's the thing. If you do not want to be salesy, you will keep following up. People that are salesy come to you one time and say, do you want to buy my product? And when you say no, they're done with you. People that actually care about, hey, I've seen that you're posting about migraines. I've seen that you're a tired mom. I'm not going to quit on you. Okay. I'm not going to quit on you because you're too important to me. That is not salesy. That is important. Okay. And so for me, I am not a salesy person because I am consistently never going to give up on you. And so I hope you can have that mindset shift. Anybody have questions? I'm going to actually stop recording.